Yeah, all right. So, contacted the best Oscilio at the Calling Portland. Finished with the best score 8-4. Mr. True Bosco. This time I'll get your name because y'all better watch out when you see his name on the list, on the tournament list. And hopefully this is the second time. So maybe this will become right uh, a a habit or wait, how do you call a habit in a better way? In English, I forget the word. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, but yeah, how are you feeling after Portland?
Oscilio is a very complex deck with tons of options, and he's going to shift with whatever the meta shifts with too.
Yeah,
Um, I'm really happy with my list. I want to try out some different tactics against some of the matchups that I did lose that ultimately got me to 8-4.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
I got
yeah,
8
yeah.
wins. Gotta check out those 4 losses and see what I can learn from them.
Yeah, that's the good
Um,
mentality.
mhm.
And also, um, I, I I had Discord audio muted for the first words, so he said he's feeling very good after calling Portland. Then I clicked it on.
Yeah,
So
that's
my
funny.
bad, my bad, my bad.
You're good. You're good.
Not a professional here, but yeah. Talk me through about the matches and whatever you want to say. I'm I'm very interested because you did very well, and the list is relatively similar. I think you play very similar to how I play. So
Mhm.
I'm interested what have you developed and found maybe some new stuff and cool stuff. So yeah.
Yeah. I'll start with the changes from my PQ list.
Yep.
The major change here was I took out the lightning presses finally. Um, I do have a soft spot for that card. It makes our good matchups better,
I agree.
which is not that's not where we want to be, right? But it's just a very fun card.
Yeah, win
Um,
more is not necessary ever.
yeah. So I took those out and I took out the blossom of spring.
Tunic only.
And so yeah, tunic only. Um, and I didn't really notice blossom being not there. Like that was not an issue.
Yeah, I think it
I would
happens
have
like
taken yeah.
once in 20 games, 30 games or something, where you draw
Yeah.
that hand like turn two or
Yeah, but
when you
even
go
when
to
you
save your.
do,
Yeah, then it's like if you miss Blossom, it's kind of like result based. The percentage of that is kind of low to have that in your list, so it's
yeah,
cuttable.
and sometimes it'll be so crazy good that you'll just be like, I'm fine just pitching one of my cards to activate creeps
Yeah,
anyways.
exactly. Yeah, and then you can
So
use the
like
tunic for like eclectic or something to make the turn even more value
mhm.
later on.
Eclectic or melding Common Storm Shock off
Yeah,
of
yeah,
just a blue. Like there's so many options for Tunic, and then of course it blocks one. So
yeah,
try to get Acilio's a deck where you try to pump the most value out of each card on the turns that it matters. Otherwise, there's also a lot of like cycling cards and IPing, like quote unquote IPing yourself, but you're really just digging.
yeah. And
Uh,
there, I will probably make a video about this later. But there is this one guy, Dasm, who we are cooking a formula or pattern or like function to like blackjack count the cards, where you can see like which sort of plus and minuses bring you to pockets of what you should like play for. Like for example,
mhm,
arsenaling CLV or keeping it around or letting it go and that kind of stuff. Because I think like Oscilio offers you a lot of questions
mhm.
that are like similar value, but they lead to different kind of things. So yeah.
Yeah, agreed. I'll watch out for that. I'll check it out when it comes out.
Yeah, and this links to like this, as you said about the tunic. So
Mhm,
same thing for many cards where you just want to get the max value out of them for the given situation. It changes
mhm.
depending on the context. But yeah, carry on, please.
Yep. So I took those 4 cards out and I threw in 4 tech cards, and they were very relevant. The first one I'll talk about is, I mean, it's 2 scour and 2 snag.
Yeah, I see that.
Uh, I'm going to talk about Scour first because Scour is a crazy card. That card won me my Viserai match.
Mm-hmm.
It made my Enigma match just as good without Lightning Press. The card's insane. It's very, very powerful, and you can bring it into Aurora and just use it as a blue block 3, or when it lines up, you can also just like pop a CLV or two. or maybe pop Tunic is equals
Embodiment.
1, destroy an embodiment. Yeah,
Yeah.
like it's totally reasonable as a blue in your deck. Oscilio Mirror can do it there as well. KO, you can bring it into there, destroy agility tokens. It's
Yeah,
just a good card.
yeah, it is.
Lots of use.
It is. It has been like kind of a hot debate for the whole 2 months because people been on and off of it because sometimes it breaks, but it's also a card that like gives you a lot of
Mhm.
power.
It straight up won me my Viserai match. Like I popped 2 red Malefics. Like they spent their whole turn charging up, right? Like they're like Malefic, search for Malefic.
Yeah.
I'm ready. And then I'm just like, here's some damage, and then scour X equals 2. And then I had 2 CLVs up, so I also drew 2 cards. Like,
Oh, that is backbreaking.
yeah, I think I remember it right actually. It was really funny. It was I drew up after a combo, after I like went off, and then my hand was 2 CLVs, Common Storm Shock, and a blue. So
Mhm.
I'm like, they're like, okay, play out my stuff, pass, and I'm like, CLV, Comet Storm Shock for 4 arcane on your turn. Draw 2 cards, and then the 2 cards were like a blue lightning card and scour. So I'm like, that's perfect. And then I just scoured. And then also I had stuff popping at the start of my turn. I had a Sigil of Aether and a Sigil of Brilliance popping. So I drew an extra card, and then I could also attack. It was wild. I think I was
Yeah.
like, I think I sent like magnetism and then also scour off of it. It was cool.
Yeah, that sounds very good, and also an interesting play line because I think a lot of people would not maybe see it or take it even if they see it, where it's just like you use 4 cards to deal 4 damage, but then you get 2 cards back, and you will cycle the deck faster into something more relevant than playing out the Comet Storm on your turn.
Exactly. Yeah, and playing whenever I have instant speed damage like that, it's really strong to use your CLVs like that because
Yeah.
Oscilio's the only lightning hero that, or Aurora can get it with Sigil of Suffering, but it's so much more contextual.
Yes.
And she can get it with her shocks, but it's not nearly as good because they can just AV1. Oscilio gets to push through that damage, and Viserai at this point was also he was running Amethyst Tiara, and I think that was probably a misplay on their part. I understand the reasoning and the thought behind it, but I just
Yeah,
played
it's
around
like
it and it was fine.
I think people are still on the phase where they think Oscilio, they see it's a wizard and they just take their
Mhm.
Kano sideboard, which is probably never correct, at least
No,
100%. So
not 100%. Like more AB, sure, but Face Purgatory would have been better.
yeah, yeah, Perk is
But
good.
yeah, I mean, I did have to play around it a little bit, but it's really face up. Do you have Rune Chance or not? How many Rune Chance? Oh, you have Rune Chance? Okay, I won't send Arcane yet. I'll Arsenal the Arcane.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the basic play line.
And the very beauty of Oscilio in general into equipment suites of different
Yeah.
heroes.
Yep. So I highly recommend Scour. I think 2 is a really good number.
Yeah, I
I was
think so
really
too.
debating. I was debating on going up to 3. I decided against it in the end, and I think 2 is just like perfect. I wouldn't change that.
Yeah, I've been running 2 scars for like 2 weeks too now, so it's really good.
Yep. Good card. Snag, I was really afraid of New. She is historically one of our less exciting matchups.
Yeah.
I don't lose that often to New, and I played against 3 News and won 2 out of 3 of them. One of them was off the back of Snag. Like I got like I killed my day 2 New opponent. I think it was like round 8 or something. Good player, but I killed them with like 30 extra life
Oh.
left because the snags were so crazy. Like they were on time, like exactly on time every time.
Yeah, you
One of
can
them
get
was like,
yeah,
oh, go ahead.
you can get crazy value off of snacks if they line up very
Yeah,
well.
yeah. I blanked. Like they were going surgical extraction, and I was like, no blocks, and they're like, okay, give it +4, and I'm like, snag and fate foreseen.
Yeah.
What's funny too is that on top of my deck was a sink below, but like I could have cycled into it, but I was like, I'd rather just save that for later. My snag has been in Arsenal for 2 turns. It's time to use it.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so I used it, and then later in the game, they're like, "Oh, damn, that's perfect." I'm like, "Yep." And then I later it was I drew snag up, and I had a combo turn, and they were sending a 2-card hand, and it was just Prognosis, and so I blocked with my boots or my arms, whichever one block, doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're like, just Nick, and I'm like, Snag, and they're like, and they were just like, oh my god, I cannot believe this has happened.
Yeah,
And I'm
it's
like, yeah, I've never had it, and I told them like I've never had a snag work out both times like this, because like my CYB knew I used my snag just to give my flittering charge go again at some point, like, which is totally a good fine use
yeah, it's
case, right?
fine
Like,
for Snag. You can use it like that as well, and it's like worst case scenario is just cycle it. It's very low opportunity cost for like it completely when it lines up there ruins their turn.
yeah, and you can just arsenal it, and then it's like it'll line up eventually,
Yeah,
hopefully. I will say the one new matchup that I did lose, snag never lined up, and it was just kind of taking up arsenal space, so I probably should have used it more aggressively, like just to like give something go again or make something happen. But
yeah, and if you're
uh,
on Snag, you don't really wanna wait for it just to line up like perfectly. I think you just need to use it kind of soon for that reason that it's like clocking your arsenal.
mhm,
And if you get ever the opportunity to have like white hands, you really want to use the white hands against no.
yeah, yeah. Once you have a wide hand, it's like I'm fine sending a tiny combo if it means getting the tempo back for for like 2 turns.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
super huge.
yeah, and it's like very important into new to make them block.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Yep. So those cards are great. Um, I like Snag. I don't think it's necessary.
do you think
I
Snag is better than D reacts in the new, or are D
I'm
reacts better than
playing
Snag?
I'm playing 5D reacts plus Snag.
Yeah,
Um, they all felt good together. Like I was kind of worried that it's like basically it felt like I was playing 7D reacts almost. But one of them's way more flexible.
yeah,
Um, I like D reacts into new quite a bit.
they are
I
very
think that
powerful.
they're very, very powerful, and the effects that are on the D reacts are very good for Oscilio, especially in a matchup where if you're facing hand disruption and you can't stop it, then a sink below can like move your Gone in a Flash to the bottom of your deck. Or Fate Foreseen, like they're attacking the top of your deck too, so you can also like Fate Foreseen opt, well, I'm gonna lose this card, and I'd rather lose this card than a potentially better card
Yeah,
or something. Or you see you're Gone in a Flash at top and you're like, okay, that needs to go to the bottom, so I don't lose it right now.
yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
So I like them more than Snag. Like if I had to choose one or the other, I would choose the D Reacts over Snag.
Hmm.
I'm experimenting with lists where I take out Snag entirely for some more gamble high roll stuff, but
I
it's
I felt okay without Snags. I also agree. I think the D reacts are better into new. Although I also admit that Snag is very good. But one thing I've been had kind of fun testing into new specifically is Marik's Seduce Secrets, where you like prioritize arsenaling that, and then when they
mm,
try to attack your arsenal, you can still like get the info what they have in their hand and play out your white hands that you get to keep still, because the information is like actually useful in that matchup.
yeah, I would try that.
I think it's at
Are
least
you playing?
interesting, and then
Yeah,
you might like play that Seduce Secrets into decks that you are unfavored but want to high roll a lot, like viserai or Azalea, for example. I think, like in theory, I've not tested enough in the new.
yeah. No, that's interesting. I remember trying to do secrets super early on
Yeah,
because instant yellow is a good pitch color for Acilio.
yeah,
Uh, Draw a card from Arsenal, all these things. You can also look at your own top deck and then choose to, you'll draw the card. Is it look and then draw?
I think it's look and then draw. I can
That's unfortunate.
pull it up.
Because if it's the other way around, it'd be a lot better.
Seduce Secrets. Let's see. Look at target hero's hand and the top card of the deck. If it's played for an arsenal and try. So you look first and then you get the draw.
Okay. So if you look at your own stuff, it's not that useful.
Mm.
Okay. I mean, it's useful if you're just playing it from hand. Like if you're playing it on a combo turn, there's some combo turns where you're like, man, I really want to like gamble and try to get the spell by discarding one of my instants, but I could end up drawing like a magnetism and just like ruining my combo turn, even like making
Yeah.
it worse.
Yeah.
But if you seduce secrets yourself as part of the combo from hand, you can look at the top card of your own deck and then be like, okay, now I know to just go full arc, full, just physical damage, or oh look, it's mind warp. That's exactly what I need. I'm gonna go ahead and ditch a sigil of lightning or something to make sure I can end with a spell.
Yeah, exactly.
It has interesting use for sure.
It does. It's definitely not a full OTK card, which is like
No,
it has very high value in combo turns, especially if you
yeah,
draw an instant. But yeah, it's like a lot of the times I think the information is sort of like win more kind of stuff because you can have educated quests about your opponent's hand and what they do, so it doesn't like not always like matter what you see. It does not affect your how you play the game and make the decisions. But it's nice.
against new, it can definitely affect it,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Like if they go ahead and attack with CNC and they're holding one card, and you arsenal seduce secrets, it's like it's just another card that blows out their CNC and
Their
leave no
next
witnesses
arsenal. Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, and then you get to know their next arsenal. You draw a card. You've just gone up a card when you're supposed to lose a card, which Channel Lightning Valley kind of does as well.
Yeah, and I think that's like
Um,
a big part of the new matchup where it's like the matchup is decent, but it's extremely hard to play well because you need to guess right a lot of times, I think.
yep.
So it likes the more you know, the better it gets the matchup because you can like
Yeah.
allow yourself to play those very wide hands because you can't like defend that well if you have two good turns and you jam in some couple of big spells and then have like shocks to end the game. It's very doable.
Yep. Yeah, but you really do need at least one Greaves turn. It doesn't have to be a big Greaves turn,
Yeah,
but games where you do the Greaves turn and games where you don't are quite different because they block quite well on just your random turns.
yeah, you need to grab
Like
the tempo for it
you
to
need
work.
tempo at some point, yeah. Because once you start blocking, like you said, it's just like the game gets a lot better for you.
Yeah, after they have like three cards and they have no boots or hands or I mean arms, it gets like a lot less scary what can happen.
Yeah, because they're mid turns. Like if they're playing the correct equipment, they're gonna have Mask of Recurring Nightmares, and they're just gonna keep taking cards from you no matter what you do.
Yeah.
Um, which is not where we want to be.
Yeah, that's why the null shocks are nice too, because you get to deny the transcends.
Yep.
And there's
I was
like
thinking about going up. I was thinking about going up to 3 null shocks actually.
I'm playing three
Um,
right now because Zen is also a big part of meta, and I think because the Zens are mostly AB1 or AB0, you can always
yep.
deny their transcends, and that is like actually
That's
a
huge.
lot of percentage into that matchup.
Yeah, I was thinking about removing Snag, going up a null shock, and then figuring out whatever that last card should be. It could be another Destructive Aether Tide or something like that. I have some thoughts. I'm still working on a post calling list,
Yeah, yeah,
uh, lessons learned and stuff.
yeah.
I guess
Yeah.
we can go through the matchups because that'll kind of inform changes too.
Yeah, yeah, let's go forward then on your
All right,
do you want to go yeah, your calling matchups. Yeah.
we're calling matchups. Yeah, that's
I'm
what I
all
meant.
ears. I'm all ears.
All right, day one, first round. It was an Oscilio mirror. The first round of the whole tournament, two Oscilios, or
Nice.
Oscilio straight across from me. Uh, I just had a bigger combo turn, and I took all the tempo, and I got there. Um, kind of how that matchup goes. It's a really fun mirror, even though it sounds like it couldn't be, or it could not be a fun mirror, but I always have fun with it.
Yeah, I
Like,
agree.
there's a lot of weird decisions to make, and I just find that matchup fun. Um,
Oh,
second round was,
interesting you're playing Null Hood into Oscillia Mirror.
yeah, I just want the AB2
That makes sense.
for
It's
the
sort of breakpoint for surges, I guess.
yeah, if they're playing high voltage, then they're gonna get over my null rune hood. But then they're playing high voltage, and like
Yeah.
the card's good, but I think there's just better cards to play for the moment.
Yeah, yeah, for
Um,
sure. I think high voltage
so
is nice in the Jarl, but that's like only matchup where I think the card is
yeah,
actually sort of good.
and Jarl, like you can just have different plans in a Jarl, or
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
gonna have
and,
other
and,
he's gonna have other meta issues.
yeah, now let me rephrase this into fatigue Jarl specifically. Normal
Okay.
Jarls, no, just fatigue.
Just fatigue Jarl. Okay.
Yeah, because I think the big part of that matchup is just abusing your AB and the surge effects to keep like the thing rolling, because you need always +1 card to pitch, pretty much, because they play all eyes and then just CYB Oasis, Seeds of Tomorrow,
Right.
whatever. So yeah.
Just try to make you not be able to do anything.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. At that point, I think it's just a pitch stack. I'd imagine. I haven't played the matchup, but
Yeah,
I will be soon.
Yeah, most likely pitch check.
Okay. CYB new was my second round. Pretty scary matchup to fall into.
Yep.
I just played it as best I could. Got a pretty decent combo turn. I got them down to like 1 life pretty quick, but they were also resolving a lot of CYBs really quick.
Yep.
The final, like I was on 3rd cycle essentially. I remember pitching 2 E-strikes to a Spindle because I forced them to break Spell Void. So they only had AB2 Spell Void 1 left.
Yep.
So I was like, here's a Spindle. Do you have a way out of this? And they're like, I have the my last CYB. So they gain God, I think it was like 7 life. No.
Eight
It was
life,
5
I think.
CYBs.
Yeah.
8, yeah, I forget if it was yellow or red. That was the last one they played.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
they gain life. They're back up to like 7. And I'm like, okay. And then I just keep pitching them, like, chipping them down with Arcane. I only have 7 cards left in deck by the last turn of the game. And I draw up, and I'm like, oh, how serendipitous. 2 E-strikes. I wonder where that came from. This was like literally 3rd cycle. Like I have pitched them like 2 times at the same time.
Yeah.
This game. But it was the play that got me there. So I just am like, what do I do with this hand? It was like Gone in a Flash, 2 of those, and something like maybe like a Sigil Connectivity, like just kind of a useless card.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, oh, what do I do with this? Actually, it might have been, no, it wouldn't have. If it was Blink, I probably would have blinked with Gone in a Flash. So yeah, I'm pretty sure it's just a bad lightning card. Not useful in this context.
Yeah.
So I just am like, okay, 5 go again. And they're like, okay, block. Block for 3, take 2, go to 5. And I'm like, okay. I think I tank for a minute, and I'm like, 7. Just send it. Like 5 and 7. I don't know. And they're like, you got it. And I'm like, what? You have 3 cards in hand in an arsenal. He's like, yeah, they're all chi.
Oh.
I'm like, oh my god, awesome. I'll take it.
Yeah,
like, all they had left to block with was Mask, and I was attacking for 7. That blocks for 2. They have no other options to block. It's Xaxes, lethal.
That's great.
Sometimes I forget you can just do that against these Mystic heroes that are defensive. Like they'll just end up having a hand that doesn't block.
Yeah,
After
especially
they were able to block all game.
Yeah, especially on 3rd cycle, for sure. It's not like very little chance that to happen.
Yeah. I mean, I was on 3rd cycle. They were probably on 2nd cycle.
Oh, that's true. Very true. You go much faster.
I dig through that deck so fast, and they're banishing cards.
Yeah, and you're also playing 65 cards in there, which makes a lot of sense.
Yep. Yeah, I wouldn't change that.
Do you think
honestly?
Do you think the Scale Pillars UIB is better into us than the normal one?
I haven't played against Scale Peeler specifically.
Oh, this was not Scale Pillar. Okay.
They were just doing Beckoning. I think Scale Peeler would have been better.
Yeah.
But not by much, because I don't need to block with my equipment a lot of the time.
Yeah, it's like mostly, at least I think, in the new matchup, the equipment you use for when new gets to have 5-card hands and they go for beckoning, you're just, okay, here's my boots, and they can't have it go again.
Boots and arms. It's
Yeah.
pretty nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, that went well. I was not expecting to win that one, so when I did win, I was like, what? Seriously? There was a bunch of people watching because it was like we were almost at time. Like we were 4 minutes till time, and everyone was like, "What?"
And you're playing Oscilio, so
I'm playing Oscilio, so it's also exciting in that regard.
yeah, 100%.
So
you get
very
the flow,
fun.
Get the flow going. 2-0 and people are pumping up. That's a nice feeling.
Yeah, it was really fun. Plus, it's like, they had resolved all 6 CYBs, so it's like, oh man, I really had to grind this one out, and I barely got there.
Yeah, the damage threat in
Happy.
the game went crazy.
Yeah. I think next round was Zen.
Mm-hmm.
Some of these might be a little out of chronological order. For the most part, it's all my losses are in the right place. That's for sure.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Some of my wins that were just like, yeah, I won, I forget. uh, I beat Zen, probably round 4 or round 3. I think it's a good matchup for us. I think that we just have a lot of tools, and our ceiling is kind of like crazy
Yeah, that's very
compared to
nice to
their
hear.
ceiling. So I don't think it's a bad matchup at all.
That's good. What do you think is like the general consensus of that matchup? Like, why is it good?
They run low AB. The Zen State token, like we're running Blast, so Zen State's actually really hazardous for them to run,
Yeah,
or for them to use. If they make the Zen State, then we can potentially just pop it, and
you,
that's kind of rough for them.
you can also deny it during the combo turn if the Zen doesn't play it perfectly. If they don't have Chi in their hand and they okay, here's like two scenarios. So I don't know if you knew this, but if you go like Ganon Flash combo turn, right?
Yep.
Start with Ganon Flash. They block Traverse Kasaya because they want the Zen State token for that because you have
Hmm.
no go again, 6 card hand, whatever. They're like, this is like
Yep.
7 value from 1 Chi. So they
Yep.
block Traverse Kasaya, 4 for that, which is already wrong to block on the first Ganon Flash, but either way, people
Yep.
usually do this for now. Then you respond to that by bouncing the Ganon Flash like Tunic, Greaves, Instant, because you are not in the resolution step, you do this in reaction
Hmm.
step, it instantly breaks the chain.
Yeah.
So the Kasaya is already in the grave before they get to
Yep.
tutor the chi back their hand. The same situation
That's cool.
occurs when they uh, try to transcend, and you can respond to that. And so it instantly closes the chain. So they have to like, if they play perfectly, you can never like deny them the chain state token, but they can never have that full value out of the chain state token during that turn. So it's like very
Yeah.
interesting things to do with Ganon Flash.
Yeah. Many combat chains have been broken this weekend.
Yes, and it's important
And it's super important. Gone in a Flash has a lot of hidden text. um,
for sure.
I didn't think about that one. That's really cool. It's never come down to that yet. Um,
No, I'd say it's probably
I
something a lot of like judges are a little confused too, because we had this talk yesterday in the Nordic Pros Discord, and the judge was a little confused there, but ended up
yeah
solving it this way.
yeah that's really cool. I'll have to remember that one. Like there's tons of weird stuff that happens. Like beyond just like the regular. Oh, you're playing sync below. I'm gonna get my extra value and
Yeah,
return Gone Flash. You don't get your sync,
yeah.
which uh you get a lot of secret points that way. Like people rely on, like especially Enigma, they rely on sync to like fix their hands, and uh they're not accustomed to that not being the case.
Yeah.
It's super good. Or like even like Flick Flack, or I played Ira in one of the side events against Ira in one of the side events, and they went wax on, wax off, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, in response to wax off, return Gone in a Flash. You don't get the Zen State token. Like, you know, there's no way for them to play around it too. Like it's just, if you're doing it on Gone in a Flash, it's not gonna resolve. I
Yeah,
will
no.
gladly I'll end my turn. I will, if it had go again and I was relying on that go again, I'm probably happier just returning it to hand and passing than giving you a Zen State for 2 turns.
Yeah, this depends a lot of course, but it
Yeah.
there's a lot of like these questions in Australia, and I think like it's very hard to play perfectly against Australia, even if you knew what is going on and can be going on. So it's like not that relevant when people say, "Oh, just learn to play against Oscilio, and you
Hmm.
will be a lot worse." You're just abusing that people can't sideboard or play against them, but it's like extremely hard.
It's extremely hard because you'll also, like, I've seen opponents like misplay, and not to not like, I get the misplays sometimes. Like, if I'm like deep in a combo turn and I still have 3 cards left and I'm already at like amp 7, it's like, yeah, and you're only running like AB2. It's like, yeah, I'd start blocking because one spell might just actually kill you. But then I just end up like continuing to do more. I just finish off with physical, and they're like, oh,
Yeah, it
I didn't
is.
need to block.
That is very relevant. And then even if they didn't die to the arcane, they're so low that they die to shock later on. So
They died a lot of things, like, especially if you get to keep a gun in a flash after it all.
yeah, I
It's
guess
like I get all the tempo back.
yeah, and it's so like it's so huge when your opponent has to start blocking against Oscilios, and so you know that you're on the driver's seat and the game is kind of over.
Yep. Yep. So Zen went well. First loss was in round 4 to Aurora. It was my worst Aurora loss I've had in a while. I've had one other worse one at a local thing,
Yep.
armory. But this one I lost. They still had like 21 life. I didn't pop boots. This was when I ran 5D reacts into them. I was just trying to like, block out all the burn up shocks. Like, I was treating it like a boom grenade matchup, right? Where it's like if I block the burn up shocks, then
Yeah.
I can probably do something better later. Uh, but I just couldn't block out the burn up shocks. Like I just drew hands, even though I had 5D reacts and all the things, I just drew hands that didn't block well enough on the turns that it mattered. So my defensive hands didn't line up with their aggressive hands. And then my combo was really like I didn't even get to combo, right? I still had boots, and I had to keep up boots because Arcane was going to kill me eventually, anyways. I also remember them being like, the first 3 turns of the game were arc lightning turns. The first, turn 0, no arc lightning. Their turn 1, 2, and 3 were all arc lightning turns, and I'm like, oh, this is pretty rough.
Yeah, they were high rolling.
They were high rolling, and I was low rolling quite hard.
Yeah, happens.
Yeah, but I didn't like have any options for getting back tempo or like doing anything. So that was pretty rough. And I was like, oh man, I really hate this Aurora matchup. It was the one I was definitely the most concerned about going into
Okay.
the weekend,
Yeah.
which is interesting. I think there's a difference in the way people play it online and the way people play it in person.
Of course, of course.
Or I just got high rolled in person 3 times and it's hard to deal with that.
Yeah, but the deck is also very consistent, so high rolls do
Or it's
happen,
very-
but you can expect that you die very fast. And they
right.
have very good equipments that are hard
They
to
have
side wrong and play wrong into us. So
Yeah, it's almost they can't really be wrong unless they go like AB1 no spell void, then they're probably just wrong.
yeah,
But they almost always have AB3 spell void too. It's not that hard to and even when it's just AB3 and they kept the grasp, it's totally fine. Like it's not
yeah. I think the best setup is AB3 SV2 and then face
me too.
or balance of justice.
Yeah,
That's
either one of those. I can play around balance a lot better than face. Um,
yeah,
I just choose not to draw 2 cards. Like
yeah.
I just
Face
work
face
around
is
it.
rough if the opponent is very good at placing it during the combo turn. But you can also
Yeah.
play around it pretty well if they're not that good because you can respond to this blocking off phase with like bouncing gun and a flashback to your hand if it's like the last attack and then you just discard gun and send your spell and it's like
Yep.
fine, you
I've
lose
I've
arsenal.
I did that, I think, in a side event game, or maybe I forget. I did do that play, and I'm like, oh, this is great, actually. And I haven't done that before,
Yeah.
just because I've never been faced with it. But it was so I lost that match, and I'm like, man, I feel like I just really want to gamble on these matches because I went full defensive and it didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyways, we'll
Yeah,
get
I've
back to
seen.
Aurora in a
Yeah,
second, but
I see you have changed your sideboard to Aurora
oh
post
yeah,
calling then
did
no
already.
D reacts.
Oh yeah, so. Before the calling, I was on no D reacts, and then the day of the calling, I'm like, you know what, D reacts. And then as the day progressed, I'm like, I am starting to like D reacts less because, like, in that first loss, there was a hand that had the 2 D reacts I drawn not been D reacts. Like I just got the tempo back, and then I draw a hand and there's 2 D reacts in it. You
Yeah,
know,
that is the worst feeling when you finally get the tempo back or do a good turn, and then you draw multiple spells or D-reacts or random
yeah,
eclectic that you can't like use, and it just
yep.
feels very bad.
Yeah, so trying to reduce when that happens is what I'm most concerned with.
Seems very reasonable.
So, because I feel like Aurora might just be more of a tempo match. Like Dio, you can just block them out. With Aurora, it's like you can't just block them out necessarily.
There's
It's kind of hard.
yeah, there's also the interesting concern of them playing Exude Confidence. So
Yep.
that
Yeah, that's the one that kind of like got me in a no D react place.
yeah.
A local knows the Oscilio, a local Aurora player. Her name's Nora. She came to the calling with me, and she plays Aurora. She brought Aurora and everything, and she knows the Oscilio matchup more better than she probably wants to because of me. Um, and she was like, "I'm gonna bring in 3 Exude Confidence, and I'm gonna like play to use Exude Confidence. You know, like hold it, put it in Arsenal, get an embodiment, start my turn with it. 4 go again, 7 go again." And I got stranded with like 3D reacts for 2 or 3 turns in a row, and I'm like, "Oh,
Yeah, that's super rough when it
this is
hits.
really bad." So, and like a random Aurora player might just bring Exude Confidence, and I did see that. Just because it's also like, hey, it turns off instance. That's and your hero ability while it's attacking if you don't block.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. It's just a good card. So
Yeah.
definitely something to think about. Um, so next round is Viserai. That game was absolutely insane. I won, but at some point the life totals were me at 10, them at 31, and I still
Oof.
won. It was absolutely insane. Like it was just like combo, and I think I talked about it. I don't know if it was on camera or on record while we're recording or not, but it was like I did a big combo. They blocked out and had like a card or 2 left. They double Malefic, and then on their turn after I drop for my combo, I do double Channel Lightning Valley into Shock from Comet Storm Shock
Yeah.
for 4 Arcane. Draw 2 cards. It's a blue and a Scour. And then they just set up double Malefic for their entire turn, double red Malefic, and then I started my turn. I think a Sigil of Aether and a Sigil of Brilliance pop. So they pitch a card to like avoid me drawing 2 cards off of just Sigil of Aether. And then I draw a card off Sigil, and I think I also popped my gloves, got amp 2.
Yep.
And then I'm like, blue Scour. Scour X equals 2, and I got to Arsenal a card. And they're like, I killed both Malefics, and it was 4 Arcane because of the amp 2. So, and then I drew 2 more cards. And then I just like dropped 2 more sigils that I drew off the top, and then passed, and I got to keep one of the Channel Lightning Valleys. And I'm like, and they're like, okay, there's AB2.
Yeah.
Like they're just like, this is like I made up so much difference just in those 2 turns, and then I just kept high rolling after that because
Yeah, it's like
it's crazy.
yeah, it's not very often that you heartbreak if you can just get the tempo and keep on going, and especially
Yep,
if you get to draw a lot of cards, they'll kind of fix itself.
yep. Highly recommend Scour. Like so for as long as Viserai is playable, it
Yeah.
really, really, really makes the matchup a lot better. Like a lot of Viserais are in the stacking mode. Like that's the default mode I saw most Viserais playing, where they're just like, most of my turns I'm making a bunch of rune chants, and then on a different turn I'm going to be playing all my rune
Yeah,
chants.
it seems after Worlds people have been shifting a lot to the Noah Bagelman's list because the list is
Hmm.
like really good or very similar
Yeah,
to that one. So
it's a great list. I would not try to do that strategy, like that specific stacking against a wizard like Oscilio
yeah,
or Verdance. They're going to be like, I think against Verdance, they're like, yeah, they're probably playing Scour. Against Oscilio, they're like, is he playing Scour? I don't know. Isn't he
Ye-
basically like a bad Aurora?
yeah. I like
That's what how a lot of people think of us.
I remember one armory, my local who was playing Vincent, asked me when we started after we were sideboarded after we started the game, and he was like, surely you're not playing Scour because you can't pitch for it, right? And I was like, I have 30 yellows and blues. I can't pitch for it, and I am
Yeah,
playing the
it's
card.
fine.
So, and he was like,
Yeah,
oh fuck.
yeah. Card is killer.
Yeah,
I was even
heard it
debating going up to 3,
heard it from the master
but
himself. Play Scour.
play Scour at least 2.
Yeah,
Not main deck or anything. It's a sideboard card, but it's a fantastic sideboard card.
most
Um,
certainly.
in my testing before the calling, like my team and I all got an Airbnb. There's like 13 of us,
Ooh.
and I was jamming games against my friend who was bringing in viserai, and I'm like, I could use some viserai practice. I didn't drop a single game to him, and I was like, that's
Oh,
good.
really?
I would love. Yeah, I didn't drop a single game, and one of them, it is a lot of it was because of scour,
Mm-hmm.
and one of the games I he like set up a huge turn. He was like double malefic. I have I have 8 rune chance. You know, it's like malefic, read the runes or something. And my hand was I had just arsenal to scour, and then it was an aether spindle and 3 blues. So I just went scour x equals 9.
Oh,
Killed 2 malefics, 7 rune chance, and dealt 9 arcane, and then arsenaled a spindle.
oh my God, that is.
And he's like, oh, I think you just won. I'm like, yep. And then we calculated it afterwards, and it was that scour was worth like 23 points or something, potentially more if you count Mordred plus the malefics.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild.
That is insanity right there.
Yep. Or like even in my calling game against I only had one viserai match. Against that match though, he had 13 rune chance at some point. I just drew scour a turn too late for that specifically.
Yeah,
Um, so
because this is very
like
interesting though. That do you think Viserai is favored then?
I don't think it's favored. I think it's like
50-50?
if it I think it's 50-50. It could be slightly favored based on if you're playing towards scour, maybe. Like if I'm cycling my deck looking for scour and trying to play for it,
But I think
then
that's like
maybe I
the
can gain
correct
some
play,
strength.
right?
It totally, yeah,
Yeah.
because it's such a swingy card. Like it just where Warmongers used to be the card, like Scour's now the card.
Yeah. And like well, that's a big part of Oscilio too, that you have the ability to very fast play towards to your silver bullet cards or the cards that are very specifically good into the
Yep.
hands that when you want to play in that matchup and the context. So
Yeah, there's a lot of games where I'm like, I'm just gonna discard and try to draw my exact card I want right now, and then I just draw it. I'm like, oh, sweet, I did it.
yeah,
Sigil of
well,
Solace, I'm not dead.
yeah, math happens a lot of times. Surprisingly so. That
Yep.
numbers never lie.
Yep. So beat my Viserai. What is this? 1, 2, 3. Round 6 was Enigma. I beat Enigma. It was
Hmm.
closer than I thought it would be, but
What was their plan?
their plan, it seemed like it was just a normal Enigma for the
Okay.
most part. I couldn't really like it wasn't CYB. Otherwise, I'd like mark that down, right? But
Yeah. No Mage Master boots, 10k.
no Major Master, no 10k.
Okay.
I don't think that'd be a good idea to do 10k into us because we could just shock them, but then end the 10k immediately.
Yeah, no, I agree.
If they try to do 10k into Oscilio, they're probably not gonna have a good time.
10k is not very good in divisors in general because it just dies. Like they can
Yeah,
never
just die.
protect it, and especially in the Australia, it can like die straight up when it's attacking and then end their turn.
For all they know, we're playing Rewind.
Yeah. Um.
Uh, and then last match that I lost in day one, I almost went 6-1, and this was a really close. It was probably my closest Aurora game. Uh, I elected to bring 3 reacts instead of 5, treating it more like a viserai
Mhm.
kind of match. And yet again, like on my combo turn, it just wasn't as powerful as I needed it to be. And one of them was a D-react that I ended up like E-striking, I think, sending it to the bottom. So
Yep.
I'm like, oh man, this just came at the wrong time. And then I draw my next hand, and it was like sigil brilliance, etchings, and like blink. And I'm like, where were you last turn? That would have been insane. And that, but uh, yeah, I lost. I think they had like 5 or 4 life left, so it was really, really close.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm like, man, I just lost. My only losses were to Aurora. Like, how? Like, I wasn't losing this before, so I'm like, what am I doing wrong? And I was like, maybe I just like totally gamble it because uh, I just want to like, if I'm gonna lose from being defensive, I'd rather just lose from gambling and see if I can just high roll.
Yeah.
Uh, our ceiling's pretty crazy.
Yeah. I've been like in 6 blast oblivions into Aurora a lot. So I have right
Yeah,
now 3 yellow blasts in my sideboard for like
yeah. I was trying that yesterday. not like against Aurora specifically, but just
Yeah.
trying out like a high rolly list that takes out like snags and does yellow blast.
Because
And
I think
yellow blast is nice, but
I think the Six Blast is really good when you need the high roll into, and they can be used to disrupt or like bounce off of your inertia tokens, like Azalea,
yep,
Viserai, or then of course like it's really good as a setup card for your fatigue or pitch deck card for your fatigue matchups, where you can go like
yep,
a setup turn with just swinging like 3, leave off of embodiment, Arsenal, good card, and then next turn is like 20, and then you go again like 3 and 20.
yeah. As like a in between card, like put your sigil lightning or probably conductivity back in your hand. Oh, look, an embodiment again, and just keep it going.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the card. I have some ideas like that I can go into after the matches because there's only a few more now, 5 more to be exact. Because we made day 2. That was a 5-2 record.
Very
I was
nice.
really happy. I was like happy that I made day 2 again. I haven't not day 2'd an event before,
Ooh.
so kind of cool. But all of my day 2s have always been like exactly the record I need to go day 2. So I was really hoping I could go 6-1, but I just couldn't finish that Aurora game.
Yeah. Next time better though.
Next time, yeah. I learned a lot about just the meta and what to do. But day 2, I play against Kano. It was the Kano that was on stream that
Mm.
people I've heard some chattering about. I haven't actually went and watched the game, but
Yeah, it was a weird
uh,
game. Go watch it.
it was
I
a weird
also
game.
want to defend the guy here a bit. Okay, so
Yeah, totally.
apparently it was his like first big tournament, and he was doing very well, and also first time on stream. So there was definitely
Totally.
a lot of
A lot of
nerves
nerves.
going on there. Um,
Yep.
but yeah,
He played a lot better than what I've heard he did on stream, and I understand the nerves of playing on stream,
yeah,
right? You're also playing against the Zen who eventually top 8'd, so also just a really good opponent. Um,
yeah, and I think that was like a win and an
he
in game as well. There, it was like 7-2 record game, I think, or something like that.
he went, that
If
was
the Kano
his
won,
loss
then
was
he would
5-2.
have been, yeah.
He would have been 6-1.
Oh, it was that early. Oh,
He
never
won
mind
that
then. Never mind.
or something. Like
Okay.
he made day 2, right? And that was a day
Yeah,
1.
yeah, yeah.
That's the end of day feature match.
Oh, okay. Then I
Um,
remember wrong. Yeah.
yep.
Still important
That's
game
what I
though.
heard at
Less.
least.
Yeah.
hmm So I play him first round. Kano's not a bad matchup for Oscilio. I'd wager that it's a good matchup, but you cannot punt it.
Yeah.
Like, I run AB2 Spellvoid 2, and I'm always keeping a blue in hand when if they're not blocking, then I'm holding a blue in hand. Once they block with one card, I'm fine sending the blue if it's like a sigil of lightning or something
Yeah.
to bounce something.
Unless they have potions. But yeah.
Unless they have potion. Well, if they're gonna try a 3-card combo me with Spellvoid 2, I'm not that scared. Like they're not gonna kill me from that a lot of the time.
No, it depends. Yeah. It's like
Totally depends.
easier with
If they have
Kindle
double
and stuff.
potions, or
Yeah.
yeah,
It depends a
it's
lot,
always
of
it's very
course.
contextual. He tries to go for combo, and then I end up I arsenal the sigil conductivity. No, wait, no, I didn't. I was going to arsenal sigil conductivity, and they were at like where were they at? They were at 7. I was attacking them with magnetism for 5, with threatening one card left in hand, threatening and 2 floating because I pitched a blue.
Yep.
And I was threatening like, oh, it might be a spell. I might like Spell Void 2, or I might like, amp 2 and hurt you. And it was just a sigil connectivity. So they go for combo, and they're like, end result was Wildfire for 6. And I could have chosen one direction or the other. I could have just like AB3 Spell Void, or AB2 Spell Void 2 and just took 2. But I elected to just put out the conductivity and just totally stuff the Wildfire down to 1 damage.
Yeah.
All he had was a Deja Vu potion, so he Deja Vu potions. And then he's like, here's Floodgates for 4. This is my last card. And I just am like, okay, Tunic, pay 1, take 3. And then they scoop. They're like, good
Yeah.
game. And they're very nice. They were like, yep, scoop. It's all
Okay, that's
good.
nice hit. Nice to hear. Yeah.
But it was like, yeah, I won with like 30 plus life. It's just it can be a really rough matchup for Kano when you deal so much damage so fast.
Yeah. Do you think you want to go first or second in the matchup?
I like to go second.
Oh, really?
Personally, yeah, because you can just drop sigils and CLVs on their turn if they don't have a good turn. AB2 is just enough where they're not going to leak that much damage. And getting to cycle, like, because if you go first and your hand just sucks, like it's just like a bunch of spells with no go again, nothing,
Mm.
you're not going to be able to cycle your hand as well as you could if you're going second.
Yeah, I see. I'm
But also,
personally
I just lied because you can always cycle because you have shock charmers, which I always forget about.
yeah.
Like I use I used shock charmer several times in that Kano match, like just actually pitching to it or using it for the extra damage.
Mm-hmm.
Um, maybe that was actually his reasoning for comboing. Now that I think about it, like I was attacking for 5, he either blocks and gives me more tempo back, where he's going to be way even lower, or he just does and I also could have like pitched, if he didn't block at all, I could have pitched the 2 floating and another card from hand to do shock charmers
Yeah, for
for
7.
lethal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then personally,
I probably wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have done that. I would have arsenal the sigil connectivity because then they could just combo in response, but
yeah, you don't need to be that
I just don't need
hasty with
to.
it. Yeah, I'm personally on strong opinion that you go first into Kano because you don't want them to get like their free turn of like
Yeah.
playing potion because they play 8 potions. It's not a low percentage that they have that in
Oh, I
their
see.
first like
Like
10 cards. So
okay.
yeah, if
Yeah.
you just give them the free turn to set up a potion and have their first 5 card hand, then you might be looking to die. It's just the first time you play your 4 cards, then you might be dead.
Mhm.
So you
I
kind of
think
like
I
play
also
one
kind of,
turn
yeah.
behind, I think.
I always forget that they're running way more potions than they used to. Like I did see
Yeah.
them pitch potion of clarity and stuff, and I'm like, right, you're playing more potions because
Yeah, that's the
you're down bad right now.
yeah, that's the whole deck what it tries to do. It's just set as potions and kills like turn 1 and turn 2. That's like their whole
Yep.
game plan, so
Well,
test it.
hopefully you're killing. Hope if you're gonna try to kill turn 2, hopefully you bring in not Tunic
Yeah.
because you need the resource.
Yeah.
Turns out, but um, yeah. So I won that game. Next game was new. This one was hilarious for me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so sorry to my opponent. Snag was insane. I don't remember if we caught this on camera already or not, like talking
I
about it.
think yeah, when you talked about Snag in general, having in
Yep,
your list,
it was that game. Yep,
yeah,
and then
just the Knicks and all that good stuff.
yep, and then I sat with my friend Nora, the Aurora I talked about,
Yep.
and we were just like one table down, uh like she was just sitting like table 40, he was like table 20 or 30 or something. And we could overhear him just saying like, and then he snagged. And then he snagged again. And it was funny just like hearing him talk to like hearing my opponent talk to his friends like we're just like chuckling, like giggling about it. It was pretty funny. Because I was like, yeah, that was pretty fucked up. What happened?
Yeah.
Uh, absolute insane snags. I don't think you need snag, but because all my other new matchups, like against that CYB new, I snagged to give my flittering charge go again on an important turn.
Mm.
So it's really good to like use for that option and also have it be the flexible option of like, and also it could have stopped something really bad. But because he was playing CYB and because he was playing just like a different style, he just wasn't really doing anything that was worth snagging.
Yeah. Yeah. I see. Makes sense.
Plus sometimes they're just gonna like you think you're like, okay, I'm ready for the snag. It's like Bonds of Agony, they're ready, and it's just it's just Mask of Recurring Nightmares.
Yeah.
I can't do anything with this. Uh, Third round of day 2 was Aurora. I lost again. It was to my friend Dylan Mancini. He ends up going like 17th or something in the whole tournament, but he's also like he plays top 30 in Worlds.
Oh.
He's like a really good player, really
Yeah.
really good.
100%.
He's from the Seattle scene. I've talked to him several times when I go up there. Um, yeah, he's a really really good player. Close game again though. I got him down to like 9, but I just didn't have a good enough combo turn. Yet again, I played 3 D reacts and I just drew one too many D reacts on the turn I really didn't want to draw D reacts and lost because of that. Or like not just because of that. I could have also probably played different lines a little better. Uh I forget if I was on Flash of Brilliance at this point because I just really wanted to high roll it a bit more. because Crown is good, but it does not high roll.
Yeah.
And I was playing Crown into the other two Aurora matches because I viewed it as like a boom grenade deck, right? Like, hey, I want to block your sword when you're going on your burn up shock turn or whatever.
Yeah, and they also like to do a
Um,
lot of that where they start their turn by attacking sword for one, and usually it's like CLV and reactions.
yeah, stuff like that. So like you get pretty familiar with these lines. It's like you have 3 more cards and you just attack for sword for 1. It's pretty obvious what's going on.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think I brought in Flash if I remember right because I just really wanted to high roll it, and I think I did Flash. Oh, I flashed a Brilliance to my channel Lightning Valley back into my hand
Yeah.
and kept it around, which is totally it's a good use of it.
Yep.
But if I remember right, I don't know if it's this game or not, but I was like getting a lot of CLVs off, but I was drawing like no lightning cards to actually keep them around long enough. So it's kind of a bummer if I remember right.
Yeah.
At this point, I was like, okay, I've only lost to Aurora. Uh, turns out she's harder than I thought she was, especially if your cards don't line up. Which I guess like that could be true of any matchup for the most part, but you just don't get enough time against Aurora to be allowed to fumble. And Oscilio can fumble a little bit.
Yeah,
His
that's
hero ability
true.
help his hero ability and Volzar being able to pitch to it helps you get through the fumbles and make your hands really crazy. But
Some,
Aurora's just crazy.
yeah,
It's a
sometimes
really
it happens
consistent.
because she just goes very consistently. Here's 4. Here's another 4. Here's third 4.
Yep.
Here's 4. Okay, you go.
Yep. Here's 16 lightning press. I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah.
I can't do anything about this. It was a good game though. I was really close to winning. I forced him to have lightning press to win the game, and I did that twice. Like last 3 turns of the game, on one turn I was like, block 3. If you got lightning press, I lose, and he didn't have it. I'm like, okay, that gamble paid off. And then I'm like, okay, do some things. And then he just kind of like takes it, and then he's getting lower, and then it was like the same situation. Like if you have lightning press, it's your last. If the last card in your hand is lightning press, I lose. And he's like lightning press. I'm like, dang it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I actually, if I overblock here, I just lose. If I don't overblock, I lose. So
Well,
it just
sometimes you have
it's
to do
hard.
this. It's a high level
Yeah.
place. You have to play your ins and outs, and sometimes
Yep.
they
I was
have it.
playing towards me out. I knew that I had no time left. Like I don't have AB. I'm barely staying alive. But I would have had a good enough like gone in a flash hand like following that turn. So I was like, I don't have any more time left. Like blocking just for the sake of like trying to get one extra turn. Like there's no extra turns to be had.
Yeah.
You know,
We are not
they're
KNO.
putting me. Yeah, I can't play on their. I mean, I can't play a little bit on their turn, but I can't kill them from 9 on their turn. What I can do is threaten 12 and then hopefully put them down low enough to die. And I think I got them down to 4. I forget. I was getting them down pretty low, but they just had the lightning press. So, and they, very very good player, played really well. I think that kind of solidified like my like, dang, I really wanted to, I was still live for top 8 if I just kept winning out.
Hmm.
Which is very possible. There was a lot of enigmas. There's a lot of good matchups in the room, but I kind of drew. I had 6 between 3 news, 3 auroras, 6 out of my 12. So half of my matchups were like hard matchups. I was lucky to win the news that I did,
Yeah.
and
Is
skill,
yeah.
but still,
Gem definitely lines up sometimes not very well.
there
Maybe
there were
some.
63 auroras in the room.
Yeah.
Like
Maybe some
not
other
as many
day.
news though.
Maybe some other day you would have been finals against favorite matchup against Michael Hamilton, not Hamilton, Michael Fenn on the
That would have been cool.
Enigma. But yeah.
My dream would be to get in that top 8 and just like beat Zen, fatigue Dash IO, and then play into Enigma. That would be like pretty cool.
Yeah.
Um, round 11. So second to last, I played against Dew again. And I was like, okay, I lost. Maybe I'll get like a little softer matchup. Nope, I got Pankaj. Uh, you know, famous new player on Arsenal Pass. I'm like, oh my god. I thought I was gonna get a softer matchup after losing. And I'm like, okay, this is the best new player, basically, so we'll see how it goes. And I lose pretty bad. Like he had 21 life, but I also never popped boots. And that's the key, right? If they have a high life total when you lose and you still have boots, then they kind of got you. And you know, if you ever pop boots though, it's gonna be a lot closer game.
Yes, I agree.
There was a decision point in the game that I learned from where I could have taken a gamble. So I had 2 cards left at the end of one of my turns. And it was like I was almost getting the second cycle. The cards were Gone in a Flash and CLV.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty good cards. And, I was going to Arsenal the CLV no matter what. Like, that's 100% going there. And then I elected to pitch to Volzar for amp like 1, but no spell, to cycle the Gone in a Flash, just to avoid hand disruption. Because it was my last Gone in a Flash. I was trying to keep it safe.
Yeah.
I should have gambled and said either you have Arsenal disruption or you have hand disruption, and I'm going to bet you only have Arsenal disruption. I should have done that because I was thinking about this, and I was like, I'm just too scared. I don't want to lose my last Gone in a Flash and just lose on the spot. It was just Command and Conquer. The whole turn was just CNC. So if I kept it in hand, I would have just played out CLV and then had a whole combo turn with CLV already active.
Yeah, and then the game is totally different from that point.
Very, very different. I make him block out for an entire turn. He also wasn't like my snags never did anything, and he was just like, yeah, I just don't really like snag doesn't really affect me. I don't play towards like a bunch of Justin Nicks and stuff. I'm like, yeah, okay, I can see that. So like where the snags were pretty damn good in the other game against Punkaj, it was like not very useful at all. I will say he never hit on Siren's Call, so that's kind of fun.
That's nice.
No sirens calls. No sirens were called during any of my games. It's very easy to avoid as Oscilio.
Yeah.
I think he had a really good weakest link turn on me as well, whereas like weakest link's not always that good. Like you could play around it pretty well. But man, one of them was like, man, I would have comboed. Like there's exactly like a couple times in a game where a weakest link really could hurt. And he lined up one of them with exactly that hand.
Yeah, I agree with
'Cause
you on that. Because people are still a lot on that like sentiment that when you say Oscilio is good deck and they're like, here's weakest link. Most of the time you can play around it, but sometimes it just lines up and you can't really do anything about it. You just have to play out your stuff. Maybe sometimes let them draw and they have a kind of weak turn, but
yeah. So I lost to Pankaj. He's a great player. Yeah, it was pretty cool though. He recognized me from previous tournaments,
oh
and
really?
he's like, "Yeah, I played him at Battle Hardened. Like the Battle Hardened, he got the first LL points for new. I was at that Battle Hardened, and I think I just played like he's a Seattle local, so like these people that I end up seeing at callings and all the in pro tours and stuff, I just see every now and then. I don't even
Yeah.
live in Seattle. I live across the state of Washington in Spokane,
Yeah.
opposite side of the state. But my team is over in Seattle, so I go there, every few months and just play some of their local tournaments.
Oh, nice.
I'm hoping to go play a 1K over there
Ooh.
in a couple weeks. Try to get
Stream.
some money on Affilio.
Yeah, feature game with Oscilio, please.
Oh man, yeah, I think they do. Yeah, my shop over there does stream, so
Cool, cool.
I'll twist their arm and say, hey, I'm 3-0. Put me on stream.
Yeah, you have to do that, please.
Yeah. I've done some stream matches before, but it's on Reinar, and
I see.
they already deleted their stuff. But I had like 3 feature matches because I was just like going undefeated at a ProQuest
Yeah,
or RTN. As is an RTN.
same
It's
thing
pretty fun.
basically.
Yeah,
But you can
basically.
you can probably
Except
find them on ifofidea.com, right? Because they upload them. I think there's like all feature matches uploaded on that site. So
oh really?
yeah, I didn't know about the site ifofidea.com.
I've heard of the site, but do they even do ones for like tinier things like RTNs and stuff?
I think they take everything. I might be wrong though. Let me check real quick. Savage Feeds. Oh, it's savagefeeds.com nowadays. Uh,
Oh, I see.
I can try to Google your name here.
Yeah. No,
Okay,
Brew
there's
doesn't come up.
no.
Nah, nothing. That's okay. I'll get there one day.
Yep.
Okay, and then so I lost to Punkaj, and then I'm like, okay, please, softer matchup. And then my last matchup was a very kind person playing Victor High and Mighty.
Oh yeah, the
And
one from feature.
yes, yeah, the feature match. And he's like, man, I got on feature, and then it's just been downhill from there. And I'm like, well, I hope at least this game is fun. And it was fun, but I blew them out. Like,
Yeah,
I
fun
got
for you.
I get way too much room in that matchup as Oscilio to like just do everything I want to do.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, end on a win. I went 8-4. Losses were to the best new ever, and which I'm totally fine. Like that's good. The ones that I really wanted to work on are the Auroras. So that's kind of where my head's at
I will
calling.
argue there is not to take anything away from this guy or your game, but I will argue there is one new that is better than them.
That's fair.
And it is their teammate Sarni Lampi. He plays new.
Okay, I have when I talk about the best new player, they're like, there is one other one that's probably better. I'm like, okay, well, I'm not familiar with them. I've heard the name passed around a lot, but
Yeah, Juha was
like,
the Tromigo and the #1 limited player in the world before the fuse happened.
fair.
When he was Pro Tour number 4.
Yep.
Or 4th in the Pro Tour, I should say. But yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, up to debate, and
Yep.
probably doesn't matter in
Yeah.
the grand context. Amazing players, both of them.
Amazing
So,
players. I mean, a lot of the players were all amazing, right? Like
yeah.
they're all at the calling day 2, extra hard.
Yep.
It's super fun though. I had a really good time. Uh, I went 37th. I bubbled. I had the record for top 32, but tiebreakers bubbled me out by 5 places. So
Yeah, that sucks.
I was a bit I was a bit bummed out because I've never gotten top 32,
Yeah, it was
and like
wasn't that the money line
it's supposed to
32?
be done. It was the money line for this one.
Yeah.
If this was a pro tour, I would have gotten money for top 64 and a lot of money too. It was like $500 or something. I think top 64, something ridiculous.
Yep.
So I got my invite for Pro Tour London. I'm hoping to bring Oscilio again.
Nice.
I don't see currently the new heroes doing much against Oscilio. We have no idea what Arachne does. We have no idea if Dromai is coming back. But
Yeah, we
wait
did
and
see the
see.
new heroes what they do, but they didn't seem like at least their hero powers too
Yeah, the
interesting
new
for Silio.
yeah. So what I mean to say is the new 2 Draconic doesn't really seem like they affect Oscilio.
Yeah.
Like I don't think Fang is just another warrior, and that's just not
That's
that's not scary right as of now. Like
no.
there very well could be like something crazy. Like if they're a warrior that's like I'm functionally playing like 9 blood on her hands or something, then I'm like, okay, that's pretty scary.
Yeah.
But yet to be seen. Based off hero text, not worried. The ninja, based off hero text, not worried. I'd actually be more worried about Fi in general, just being a good aggro deck again.
Mm-hmm.
But even then, it's like you're not A-being my shit, so I'm just gonna be able to beat you a lot of the time.
Yeah, that's the good thing.
Um,
They don't have really the greatest equipment into Wizards or Oscilio.
yeah, and they're not gonna have the blue count to deal with all of
Yeah.
it. So, or even if they did have AB3, it's like they're gonna draw a lot of all red hands.
So
Um,
like Mark Morrison said, it's always win-win with Oscilio. You lose having fun, or then you win.
yep. And I really tried to play towards punishing whatever AB setup my opponent has, which is something I always tell people
Yep. I think that's
when they're
very
learning
relevant.
Oscilio. Yep, you look across the table, count AB first thing, and that'll inform what kinds of plays you should be making. If they have low AB, you're sending those spindles. You're pitching 2 reds a lot of the time to send a spindle.
Yeah.
It's like I'm sending a spindle because I'm leaking damage and setting up my next draw.
Yeah.
You know, uh, if they're on high AB, then you're like, you know what? E strike sends spindle to the bottom. That sounds good to me. Or pitch spindle to magnetism, something. Or even just pitch spindle to Volzar, right? Like
Yeah.
Spindle's an incredible card. I use it a lot. Its use is very contextual. But man, it is a great card. Like either way.
Yeah, I do agree. There's been a lot of talk today that people are coming off Spindle, and I'm like, no, please.
No. Nope. Card's still good.
It's very good.
So throughout our conversation, I think the next step is finding like, Scour is safe. Scour is a great card. Destructive Aether Tide as a 2 of, one in main, one inside. I still kind of like it. I
It's good when it
am
lines up, but it's like the problem is it does not line up very often, and then it's just the bad
yeah,
damage.
it's just bad damage sometimes with no on hit.
Yeah.
So part of me, I think I want to go up to 3 null shock like you were doing. Like the first thing is that Snag's gonna come out of the list.
Yeah, I can send you my testing list after this if you want to take a look and maybe have some ideas from there, what I have
100
patterns.
100% please. I would love to look.
And then and
I was
then
gonna
I
throw
would
it
like
up.
to I would love to hear what you end up like taking out of your testings. So
Yep. Definitely gonna put in the 3rd null shock. That's the top of the list because that's Aurora and New and Zen and Enigma. Like, whoa, what's that? 4 out of the top 6 decks?
yeah,
That
and
sounds
like
good to me.
the shock is like just really good. It's just really good.
Really good. Yeah, I did a cool play where I was like finishing off my combo turn with a shock, but I did it so neatly. Like it was combo turn, right? And I comboed. Actually, no, it wasn't even a combo turn. I just had a shit ton to go again because like current funnel or something.
Yeah.
And I finish it off with Gone in a Flash for 4. I have like amp 7 or something on a non Greaves turn, like a
Yeah.
post Greaves turn. Tunic is still up, and I'm like, okay, Tunic. They take the 4, and I'm like, okay, Tunic. Uh, Dock, hold priority, return Gone in a Flash, pitch Gone in a Flash to Volzar to amp it.
Oh, that is very cool. That is very cool
And
sequencing.
that was the last card on my deck, and it also paid for the CLV that I played that turn.
Yeah, achieved so many things. That's very cool.
It's like, hey, look, I got a red back. That's cool. I actually exactly needed this.
How did this happen?
Yeah, interesting.
So, like, post this calling, then, what do you think? There's a lot of discussion if the Oscilio is good deck or not. So, what do you think? How do we stand in this meta and overall power?
I think he's very good. I think he's. I'm gonna go on a limb and say he's A tier. I think what he gets is that there's not really a silver bullet that I can think of off the top of my head that just like says, "Oh, are you worried about Oscilio? Do this." Like the silver bullet ends up being, "Oh, replace a bunch of your equipment with AB3 Spell Void 1 or 2." And
Yeah,
that also taxes them in a different way, and then it's still not the best advice because then Oscilio can just say, "Oh, so you're just running high AB? Then I'm just gonna like pivot my game plan as soon as I see that flip face up and just not send as much arcane until like the end game."
yeah, that's definitely true.
Um, I think his worst matchups currently, ignore Prism. She doesn't exist. Also, you can just high roll it anyways. Like I haven't lost to Prism in a while, but also my last few games have been very lucky where I'm
And
just like, oh
Prism,
look, combo turn 2.
yeah, and Prism feels pretty good when you get to deny their first heralds and you delay the game a lot by doing that. Like I think the D-Rex are very nice in the Prism. Also balance of justice. So
Yeah,
you can always like you can always block the first Herald of Erudition and you can always draw off of the second Herald of Erudition. And you
yep.
can maybe block the second or the third one. Also you can block like the 7 attack heralds. It's like still I'm not saying it's like even 50-50. It's
hmm
still one of our worst matchups and definitely not favored there. But
Yeah.
there's some neat play that you can delay the game to find the combo turn. She does have relatively low life and she does like to keep all her cards in her hand to
Sometimes she just can't block.
yeah, because she wants to do
Yeah.
that like off of 4 or 5 card hands where you goes like Herald, Angel Herald to you, and it's like oh, it's like 25 value out of 4 cards. Well, very cool. But it's just
Very
lose, but
cool.
yeah,
Very cool, but all you need is like a 30 value. I just said all you need is 30 value, but
oh
Acilio
shit,
is that way a little bit. Like your combo turn is so insane.
yeah,
Like
yeah. You know you're
it's
doing something right when you can tell your opponent, hey, holding priority when you are dying. I want to do this thing.
yeah. Hold priority. Shock your angel. Whoops. You just lost your angel. That sucks for you. And your
Yeah.
action point.
Yeah.
So uh I think to tie it all up, Oscilio's great. Prism doesn't exist, but also it's not the worst. As far as bad matchups go, it's not the worst. It could be. It's not Kano. It's not Kano's Prism. It's just a little different.
No, we are not that
Um,
polarizing, fortunately.
no, and I haven't even been bringing Sync Below into my Prism matchups. I'm just like going ball to the wall aggro, like just hair on fire. I'm gonna try to kill you, or you kill me. I don't know. I don't care. Let's just
Yeah, I
make this
see.
fast.
Do you in general play Oscilio in like kind of value way, or do you try to full aggro? I like gamble your
Depends on
draws.
I gamble. Well, I'm starting to learn to gamble more because I was gambling really early on, like it was just all gamble. And
Yeah.
then I was like, and then I discovered how to play the mid range list a lot better, and I was like, this is way better, and I can still gamble in this list a little bit when I need to.
Yeah.
And it pays off pretty well, I think, to like find how to do both.
Yeah, you have to do a lot
Um,
of educated gambling with Oscilio.
so much like that hero text is insane.
It is very hard to play. You can never play it perfectly, pretty much.
No, never.
But it's like
Like
the beautiful part of the Oscillio that you, at least I get like, if I play something like KO, I play like 2 games, get to do cool sash there, and I'm like, wow, well, what then? I just reached max out of this hero. I cannot play better, but I still lost, and it's like, it feels very bad. But Oscillio, you can always
yeah,
like think back and be like, okay, I could have done this better.
yeah. There's always room for improvement and learning in Acilio. Like you'll think you'll have learned how to like choose your gambles and when to do gambles, and then you'll have like my Punkage match where it's like, oh, I should have gambled here and kept the gun or flash in hand because if it's just Arsenal Disruption, I could have taken a moment to look through his graveyard and be like, how many CNCs, how many left leave no witnesses, what's the most likely. And I usually do this in most matches, to be honest, but I was just like,
Yeah, it's card
it's
games
second
at
to
their
last round,
highest level, of course.
highest level, yeah. So maybe I could have gotten a more educated guess based on that, and then taken that gamble a bit better and felt better about taking that gamble and actually take it.
Yeah.
Uh, but there's like things like that, right? Like I learned, oh, that's a new gamble I can try out next time I am faced with a situation. And a lot of high level events end up that way, where your losses, you learn a lot from them, or you learn like, oh, so on this pivot, there was that turn that mattered, and now I can look for that pattern next time.
Yeah, 100%. You have to take away a lot from your wins too. You can't
Hmm.
just be like, oh, I won. I did everything right. Cool. Next game.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like a lot of my games, like the double CLV shock into Viserai was like, well, that was really good because I like totally set up my CLVs with extra cards after like it was just like I couldn't be up like that was so good. It
Yeah,
was
yeah,
so
yeah.
fun, and I'll look for that more often.
Yeah,
But
another play many would take, definitely.
yeah, I was like, well, I was already at 10 life. They're at like 21 or something because they blocked out full hand, and I was like, I don't know, I could set up a bit here and just try to keep it rolling.
Yeah.
Um, so as of now, I'm gonna try out. You mentioned Balance of Justice. Are you playing that over Crown of Providence right now?
No, I'm not playing either one right now, actually.
Just
Um,
Flash of Brilliance?
yeah, yeah, and
Hmm.
Flash of Brilliance and Shock Charmers right now only. I am sort of stacking Kano matchup, not playing Null Rune, but um, yeah, it's not really real right now, Kano. And I think that like the SV2
No.
is a lot of percentage into that matchup where like the extra 5 life might not matter too much. Um,
Yeah. And then the
yeah.
Flash into Oscilio is like, if you get to Flash first, you're kind of winning.
Yeah, yeah, that I like that a lot. And well, if you want to play either one of those, my opinion is that Crown of Providence is probably better right now because you have like IRS and whatever, and you want to protect that first TNC or whatever hate you get sent to your way. So
Yeah. Crown has been really, really strong. I would consider taking out Null Rune and the two snags, throwing in another Null Shock, and maybe finding room for some other cards that could help shore up some of my matchups.
yeah,
That's kind of where I'm at. Uh, I'm excited to keep working on the list. I'm excited to keep playing even more Acilio. Like, oh, I just played 12 rounds of Acilio at a high level event nonstop. Am I sick of him? Nope. I want to make 2 more decks
yeah,
right
that's
now.
what we love to hear. And you know what I'm excited for? To bring you
Hmm.
back here for another interview after the next tournament.
After what? Sorry.
After the next tournament, when you're top 8.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, I'm so close to top 8, but
Yeah.
yep, yeah, I'll take it. Like I'm getting closer and closer. And the fact that I keep doing it on off meta decks, like I just can't bring myself to play a lot of the meta decks.
Yeah.
Maybe one day it'll line up where it's like, oh well, I just really like the meta deck, but I so far have just never had that.
Yeah,
But
same here.
Oscilio, so good.
I just
Like
want
key
to
bait.
play Oscilio, yeah. And I
I
think
just want
I'm
to play
like
Oscilio.
13-1 right now, 12-1 right now in real life with Oscilio.
Nice.
We have pretty strong locals as well. We have well, the one battle hunter went, he moved away, but we have one World Stadia player. He actually went on Aurora 8-0 CC on Worlds, so
Nice.
it's a pretty good run. Have good
Hell yeah.
locals, but yeah. I think the deck is also really good right now. I definitely agree with you. Not top 5, definitely, because there's like Mystic Heroes, and then you have viserai there, Aurora probably, Ira, Florian, I don't know, but somewhere with Florian probably there. I don't know. Top 8, top 9, top 10 definitely.
Top 10 easy. He has really good matchup into the top 6 for the most
I
part.
do agree. The matchup spread is really good, but they are a lot of the matchups that you need to learn to play well. And I think like that has been the big hurdle for the community in general. That at first Oscilio, like the list was not good. It was very serious. Didn't block well. Died to every disruption. We didn't know how
Yeah.
to play the matchups, but the more that it has been played, and like there's like every other day somebody comes like, hey, I tried this, and it's like, oh, this play style, I'm like undefeated. This matchup that we thought it is bad, and then it's like, oh,
Mhm.
maybe this is favored now, and it's like very great to see.
Yeah. 100%. Cool. All right. I got nothing else. I'm gonna keep playing Oscilio. Hopefully, let's see. RTN is like in February. I don't think there's any big tournaments I'm doing very soon. I will be bringing an LL Oscilio deck to my skirmish though,
Oh,
so that'll be
cool.
fun.
Yeah. I have played like 2 games of that thing. Actually, I had the
I played
game where I
0.
drew like the Exodia hand. I had double somersault, brilliance blast, cannon flash. Um, that brilliance would have drawn Tome, but I was playing against
Nice.
Starvo, and he went first turn. I didn't let him fully mulligan. I went first. Then he went like, here's fully fused Starstruck, 12 dominated. I'm like, yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah,
I
looking
guess
at
I
you.
didn't play. And then next 2 turns
Yeah.
he went like dominated all of them stats, and I'm like, could you have given me this one turn, please?
Yeah. Give me one turn and I'll hit you. But
Yeah.
if you just keep drawing like that, what are you gonna do?
But yeah, cool. Thanks for the talk again. It's always lovely to just talk about Australia, and you're like killing it over there, proving people.
Yeah. Yeah. So are you. Thanks for inviting me on. I'm on the Purple Discord a lot, chatting with y'all, and it's been cool. We'll one day get our own Cilio Discord, unless there is one that I'm not familiar with.
Yeah, there is one, but it's like, on Purple Eggisworn, the judge guy with the Australia profile
Yeah.
picture. He made it like 2 months ago, but there has not been a message in like month and a half that nobody uses
Yeah.
it. I don't know.
It's very active now. I don't see a reason to make a new one
Yeah,
until we get so active that we need like if we ever get like sub threads in our Cilio chat, then it's like okay, now we kind of need to
yeah.
probably be
Once
better if we had something
once the
different.
dummies start to roll around, we have to pick the grains out of the salt and make it. No, I'm kidding. I'm
Yeah.
kidding. Yeah.
Funny.
But yeah,
Cool.
purple has been good on Australia. Usually I don't like purple on any other, but Australia's been good.
Cilio's been good. Yeah.
But yeah, cool.
Cool.
I'll see you around, and thank you for the time again. That was great.
Yep. Thanks. Good luck on your games in the
You too.
future, and have fun.
You too.